Please take a moment to increase the brightness on your device for optimal viewing. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sketchy Friendler, where every day I tell you a story and I draw a picture to go along with it. So today I am going to tell you about a very misunderstood dog, which is part of my Misunderstood Dog series. All right, before we get going, let me just get through the formalities here. One, yes, I'm drawing in a blue pencil, but bear with me because I'll start drawing regular graphite soon. Two, if you can't see what I'm drawing, crank up the brightness on your viewing device all the way up. And three, if you're watching on your cell phone and this image seems too small, please turn your phone horizontal so that the image gets bigger and you can see it better. All right, and without any further ado, let's do this. Okay, so you know that I used to work with dogs, and I've drawn several dogs here that are my all-time favorites. And one of the connecting themes between all these dogs is that they were all sort of misunderstood. People didn't give them a chance or want to give them a chance. And I feel like the greatest breakthroughs with all the dogs that I've been friends with have been those dogs that took a little work to gain their trust. I guess it's partially maybe an ego thing, but also, I just feel bad for the dogs that nobody wants to be friends with or just kind of prejudges because of whatever reasons. Maybe they are standoffish or do inappropriate things, or sometimes they're downright mean. But usually there's always a reason. And if you find out what that reason is or what the motivation for them acting up is, then you can perhaps get through to them. And it's just very rewarding once you do. Now, this dog here is a dog that still I think about. And her name is Maggie. And she was a rescue. And she was very kind of, she was, for lack of a better word, she was a scared dog. Whatever her history is, I'm not sure. I know she was a rescue, and I know that she kind of turned that fear into aggression. She would, I think, kind of her MO was, I'm scared of everyone. I'm scared of the world, and I'm not going to be a victim. And I'm going to get the drop on everybody else. So I'm not going to let somebody come up to me and cause me problems. I'm going to tell them they better back off, and I'm going to show them by doing things that are not quite nice. Now, her humans at that time, I think, had kind of figured her out, but she was very, I think she was good with them, but anybody else, like, they had to get those leashes that said, warning, this dog's not friendly. And I guess they had incidents where they couldn't take her places because she was, maybe not so nice to people. And I know that her in-law, father-in-law, I guess you could say, for some reason she didn't like him. So anytime he came over, she'd have to bring her to the dog daycare that I worked at, because she would just go up to him and just, like, I guess, nip at him and just cause all sorts of problems. And I think the in-laws were kind of scared, and rightfully so. But with Maggie, when I first met her, she was freaked out. She didn't want to be at the dog daycare. She didn't know anybody. She didn't particularly like me, and she would like. I know people would, you know, I hate to say this, but a lot of people that work in dog daycare, they don't when they. A lot of people have these silly notions when they first start working, and some people never figure it out or never learn, and they think just because they like dogs that's good, that's qualification enough to be able to work and understand dogs. And if you like hugging dogs, and that's going to carry you through, and that's not the case at all, especially when you're dealing with dogs that aren't particularly friendly. Uh, so she was, very, she'd bark at people. She would go up, walk up. One of the things she would do is she would sneak up behind some of the dog handlers, and she'd like nip them. And she got some people pretty good. I mean, I don't think she like really did anything major, but I think she may have broken some skin. I know she definitely you know hurt people mildly, but it was just not appropriate behavior. But one of the things that I just started, no, I started noticing, like, people like, no, Maggie, rah, rah, they'd bark at her basically. And that definitely was not helping the situation, because that would just kind of escalate things. And to me, she's always looked very sweet, but she even looked kind of tough because she had like this little mohawk. I don't know what that was. She was definitely some sort of a pit bull mix, but she had this little funny little mohawk on her head. It was very cute to me. I always wanted to get her like a spiky collar to make her look like a punk rocker, but I don't think that would have helped her in life that much. Um, so I didn't. But one thing that I did that I think kind of took her off guard was, instead of saying, no, Maggie, don't, or whatever, I just got my voice real quiet, and I'd say, Maggie, like she'd be barking, and it's like, hey, Maggie. And she'd just kind of look at me, and she kind of like, and dogs get kind of confused. They kind of cock their head sideways. So I kept doing that. And eventually, I think she realized, hey, this person's not gonna yell at me or come at me. And I just would sit near her, and I would never like bum rush her, go up and try to like make pet her. I just would sit next to her, say her name softly, and she eventually warmed up to me, and she just, we hit it off. And her owners, I guess, we had like cameras in the dog daycare, so I guess their owners saw that she totally warmed up to me, so they knew that that she liked me. And she told they told me, and I said the same thing. She said, she's your favorite. And I'd send them pictures of her doing things. And one of the things that I liked about her was, I called her kind of a helper dog or a teacher dog, because she would put dogs in their place, but she would do it in an appropriate manner. She wouldn't like have fights with dogs, but she'd like get up in dogs' faces that were misbehaving or just acting up, especially like puppies. She'd, get up to them, basically tell them without, attacking them, like, hey, cool it. And they'd listen to her. So she actually became kind of my assistant in my yards. I always was happy when she was visiting, because I knew that I could count on her to back me up and help me out, and enforce what I needed to have happen, because I knew she would correct other dogs appropriately. Um, and they respected her, and they would listen to her. And so I love that. And I would send videos to her people of her doing that. And she had this one thing she would always like groom other dogs. She loved, I guess she kind of had a maternal instinct, so she would kind of nibble on other dogs, kind of like you ever seen when dogs like bite at themselves when they think they've got like a flea or something, which you kind of do that to other dogs. It was really cute. Um, I guess her owner said that I could get her to do stuff that you know, they couldn't do. Um, but I ended up, moving away, and I guess they were just having real problems, and they ended up they loved her, but they ended up getting pregnant, and Maggie had a little sister, and I think she was pretty good for the most part. But I think at one point she may have growled at the little baby, and they were like, "Okay, that's it. Sorry, we love you, but we can't have you. We know what you're capable of, what you've done to like your other family members. We cannot have you do that to the baby." And they were heartbroken. But I know, like, if things were different, had I not moved away, gotten married, um, I would have done everything in my power to try to adopt her, and I'm sure they probably would have let me have her because they knew how much she loved me. And every time she would visit and I was there, like she'd see me, she'd start like whining, and she'd get so like worked up. She'd just like kind of get excited, and sometimes have little accidents. But it was cute. It was kind of sad though, because she was kind of that sad, kind of submissive behavior in it. I thought that was a little bit sad, but it was sweet. Um, but I've since talked to my former bosses, and good news about her is that she did get rehomed, and the people that own her now, they bring her to the daycare whenever they need to. And but they said that every time she shows up, they said that she looks for me, and that breaks my heart. I mean, I'm getting misty eyed talking about this, but yeah, she definitely was my favorite. If things had turned out differently, if I had not left where I used to live in the Bay Area, she would be mine. I would have figured out what to do with her. I would have, if I had to move to a new place, I would have done it for her. Because she's one of those dogs that needs, a little bit extra care and TLC. But like I say, like it's when you have a breakthrough like that with a dog, it's very rewarding on like the human end. On my end, it's rewarding, but I think the dogs appreciate it too, because they don't have many friends, because people don't give them a chance. So when they do make that connection with somebody, the bond is it's very strong. And I hope she has a wonderful life. I wish nothing but the best for her. She deserves it. She's a sweet girl. She just needs a little bit of extra care. So, on that note, trying to hold it together here. Sorry, guys. All right. Just so you know, I draw these pictures here Monday through Friday on YouTube and Facebook. Really excited because I'm growing my numbers on YouTube. And if you just want to look at the finished drawing that I do, then you can check me out on Instagram, where I just post the finished drawings from the previous day. And so if you just don't have time, or you just kind of want to preview, head on over there. And then on TikTok, I do entirely different videos. They're time-lapsed, about 2.5 minutes long, and I take you all the way up through the inking process and just kind of tell you a quick little thought or story, because it's only about 2.5 minutes long. And then if you're interested in Sketchy Friendler merch, head on over to the amcprincessanna.com website. There's a shop tab that you can click on, and there's a Sketchy Friendler collection there where I have like t-shirts and tumblers and limited edition digital prints. One's on sale right now. You can print those out on anything you want, be it a canvas, paper, stickers, t-shirt, your choice, up to you. That's why digital prints are awesome. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm excited about the TikTok, though. Yeah, I'm actually growing my numbers out there too, so that's great. If you want to be a part of that, then I'd appreciate the follow over there. And I think that should do it for today. So let's hear it from Maggie. Let's send out positivity for her so that she has, a good time and a nice life. And I think that's it. Again, I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate you coming here, watching what I do, and I'll keep doing this for you. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.